Okay, I'm going to do a video today about how to wear a sari, and I apologize for a messy house and, not professional quality. I'm just on my iPod here, but I wanted to give a kind of visual because it can be a lot easier to follow along that way. So first of all, I have on my choli and my petticoat. I got both of these years ago on eBay, so they're just sort of ratty now, but they've been really good service for me. You just need a real simple black top and bottom. You can wear it with just about anything. So I have this sari today. The first thing when you're looking to put on your sari is to find the palu. The palu is the decorative end. So you can see here, this pattern is different, as the rest of it is just plain, and the other end of it is this real plain pattern. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's just a fancy one end. And then check and see if your sari has what's called a fall, which is some extra fabric sewn into the lining at the bottom. That's supposed to protect it as you sort of kick when you're walking. So if you do have that, it'll go towards the bottom. So that's the palu end. I want to get the other end. And I want to turn it so the fall is at the bottom. Make sure that it is facing out. Okay, now I'm going to get far enough back for you to be able to see what I'm doing here. This is my right hand. I had the fabric across my body. I'm going to put it in front of the petticoat and tuck it in from that side, making sure that it just kind of barely brushes the ground. I know you can't see that part, but yeah. So put that up and show you to where, like, at the very bottom, can you see my toes? It's just really right along the ground there. So I've tucked it to that point, and then I'm going to keep wrapping around. You want to get it really straight down the back, so it helps if you have a mirror, or my friend has suggested sort of picking up your heels and seeing if you can kind of just get the very bottom of it. Okay, get my hair out of the way, and then tuck, tuck, tuck. Okay, so now your petticoat or slip is completely covered. You've tucked all the way around, and so the rest of the fabric is kind of hanging down in front of you. You have a couple of options at this point. You can figure out what length you want draped over your shoulder first and then pleat, or you can pleat first and trust yourself to know how much you need. But the first way to do it is to just sort of let this dangle and figure out, okay, once I wrap it around one more time and go over my shoulder, that's about where I want the length to be, and then pick it back up to pleat. I prefer to just kind of do it by memory, but this part takes a little bit of practice, but you get used to it pretty fast. This is the part that, if you're not used to wearing a sari, probably Indian ladies will come up to you and like correct it for you. But you're just going to be creating a series of pleats, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it so that you can really see what I'm doing here. So I can stand here. Okay, so fold the cloth together, and then just keep on folding it. A few times, and you'll see that you have this kind of layers, and then you're just going to pick that whole thing up and tuck it into your front, so you'll have these nice pleats going down your front. And then this continues on, wrap it behind you, and from here you have a few options. for how to do the other end. So the real standard, the first method that I have in pictures is you wrap it behind you and then up over your left shoulder, and then you can just sort of let it dangle like that, and you have the beautiful palu hanging over your shoulder, drifting towards the floor. Very graceful, very pretty. But it can end up kind of choking your hand. So what people will usually do is do more pleats here. So you have it at the shoulder, you pick up a bit of cloth and you pull it up to that same point and keep doing that. Keep doing it. And then you would get a safety pin and pin it to your blouse right up here. So then you have the pleats that go down the front, and it still covers over this area of the pleats in front, and you still have the palu kind of dangling in the back. So another thing you can do with the palu is you can bring it all the way across your back, over your arm, and make it into kind of a shawl. So if it's cold out, you can get all bundled up in your sari this way. I'll try to show that at a length. Then you can also take it underneath your arm and pull it across and just tuck it into your blouse, or sorry, into your petticoat. So then you have this, the palu is down in the front, and this is really good for kind of keeping it out of the way so that you can do work, especially if you do have it pinned up on your shoulder and then tucked in. It allows you to have a lot more freedom of movement. And then another way to show off the really pretty palu is to go back to this part, and then instead of bringing it across the front, you'd bring it over your right shoulder and have it down in front. Now for this method you gotta get the length of the palu just right. So I would need more pleats to do that effectively. So I'm going to pull out my pleats here and add a couple to shorten the amount of the fabric. Tuck it in, and then bring it across the back and then up over the right shoulder, and then it's hanging down very beautifully in front, and you can pin it like over here. So those are a few of the ways that you can wear a sari, and I'm going to have still pictures on my blog as well to make it easier to reference so you don't have to watch the whole thing in order to get each little step. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you later.